Tonight I'm going to be doing a 1020 system measurement demonstration. I actually forgot my electrodes in class, so I'm going to try to do a complete measurement of the head, definitely under 15 minutes. I'd love to be able to do it in 10, so that's kind of my goal that I'm going to try to reach. And I'll talk through it, and I have my timer set up ready for me to start. I have my tape measure, my paste, and my knee prep, and as well as a Q-tip and a piece of gauze for presentation. And I have my glass head right here ready for me to measure. And yeah, so I'm gonna try to do a complete measurement of the head as quickly as possible, to try to speed up my measurement time and my hookup time in class. But yeah, so I don't have electrodes, but I'm gonna do the best I can with just the head. And I'm starting the timer now. All right, so first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna come to the front of the head, right above the nose on the bridge, and mark your Nasian. You're gonna turn the head around and find the bump on the back of the head that's usually linear with lined up with the tops of the ears. So I'm gonna mark that right here. I'm trying to make big marks to make it more visible. So next, you take from your inion, take your tape measure using the centimeter side. You measure from your inion or your Nasian to your inion. I got 36 centimeters. You measure up from your Nasian, 10% of that measurement, which is 3.6. I'm gonna mark right there. Again, I'm trying to do a big mark so y'all can see. And you do the same thing, the exact opposite on the inion, up 3.6 centimeters. All right, and then this provides me with my OZ and my FPZ measurement. Then I'm going to measure from my FPZ all the way back to my OZ, OZ. And I get 29. I'm gonna take half of 29, which is 18. No, that's not right. Half of 29 is 14 and a half. My bad. I could not think of it for a second there. All right, and I marked half on the half of that measurement, and then I'm going to take half of that measurement, which is going to be 7.25. I'm going to mark that, get some new prep so y'all can see it clearly. 7.25 right here. All right, I'm going to measure on the back from OZ to my CZ mark, which is half of the 29 centimeters. 7.25 on the back. All right, so I got that measurement right here. It's hard to show y'all, but it's right there. And that is my PZ mark. So I have my first chain is complete. I have my OZ, PZ, CZ, and my FC up here, and then my FPZ. So now I'm going to mark my landmarks, my preauriculars, which is right on the bone in front of the ear, on either side. these are my preauriculars, and then I take my centimeter tape measure and I measure from both of those preauriculars, making sure my tape measure goes through the CZ mark and I get 38. So I'm gonna measure up. I'm gonna take 10% of that number, and so measure up 3.8 centimeters. Excellent. I made that pretty big so y'all can see it. Do the other side, 3.8 centimeters. Excellent. All right, so now you measure. This is the marks that I just made are your T3 and your T4 right here. So I'm going to measure from my T3 to my T4, making sure again that I'm going through the CZ measurement. And what am I getting? I'm getting 28. So I'm going to take half of that 28, and that crosses, half of 28 is 14, and that crosses my CZ mark at the very top. So then I'm going to take half of that measurement, which is 7, and mark right here. And this gives me my C3 mark. And then from T4 over to CZ, I'm going to mark half of that, which is 7. All right, and that is the second chain. So I'm going to do circumference. I'm going to give myself a point of reference, and I'm gonna take my tape measure, line it up with my T3 and my OZ all the way around. I'm getting 55. So I'm gonna take 10% of that 55, which is 5.5, and then half of 5.5, which is 2.75. Gonna mark 2.75 away from my FPZ. Right there. Try to make it as big as I can so you can see it. All right. 2.75. Right here. All right, so I have my FP1 mark and my FP2. I'm going to use my tape measure to create reference points from that. All right, so now I'm going to go back to my 1.5 or my 5.5 and measure the circumference of the head. 5.5. It's going to mark right there. And from here, and this gives me my F7 right here. That's my F7 mark. Mark 5.5 again. That's right here. And then that crossed my T3. Now I am going to do that again, 5.5. And that gave me my T5. Measuring again from there. 5.5. Which gives me my O1. And then I switch it around. Well, let me see. Now I'm going to go back to FP2 in the front. Measure 5.5 back from that. And this mark right here is my F8. Then 5.5 from F8 to cross my T4. And and then 5.5 back from that. Well, I did not make my 10-minute mark, but I will try to hit or keep it under 15 minutes. All right, so I just marked my T6, and now do 5.5. That marks my O2 right here. Then I'm going to take my tape measure and get these crossed. Perfect. All right, so that's the circumference. Now I'm going to begin with the banana, double banana chain, placing my tape measure on FP1, going all the way back to O1, and I'm getting 25, and I'm going to take half of 25, which is 12.5 or 12 and a half, and I'm going to mark right there, and that crosses my C3. And now I'm going to take half of that 12 and a half, which is 6.25, and mark right here. And then that gives me my F3 mark. So I'm going to come back to my C3 mark, which is this one right here, and I'm going to measure back and mark at 6.25, and that gives me my P3. I'm going to do the same thing starting at FP2, going all the way back. Let's see what I get for this side. 25 again, so I'm going to take 12 and a half. I'm going to hold that there. 12 and a half, half of 12 and a half is 6.25, marking that up here. That gives me my F4. Now from here to here, 12 and a half, where's my 6.25s? Right here. And I will, all right, so that is the double bananas done. Now I just have to finish crossing my marks. F8 right here, I'm going to cross that by lining up my tape measure to give me a point of reference. All right, and then I have to do that with F8 as well. Excellent. So that one's not very clear. All right, so I measure from F7 to F8. And then I'm getting 22. So I take half of 22, mark it at 11 centimeters. That crosses my FC, and now I do the take half of that 11 from F8 to my FC, or F, yeah, that's right. And that'll be 5 and a half. So I mark right there. And then from my F7 to my FC, I measure that, and that's 11. Take half of that, which is 5 and a half. Mark right here. Okay. Now I'm going to do the back portion of the head, lining it up, crossing my my T6. I cross my T5. So my T5 is crossed. Measure. All right, I'm getting 25 for the back of the head. So take half of 25, which is 12 and a half. Mark, make your mark, which crosses your PZ. Then measure from T5 to your PZ. Your 12 and a half, take half of your 12 and a half, which is going to be 6.25, half. 6.25 is right here, and then measure from your PZ to your T6, half of that is 6.2, mark right there. All right, and that is complete. Let's see how I did. Right under 15 minutes at 14 minutes and 30 seconds. So I did it not quite as quickly as I wanted to, but I still think I did a pretty good job, as well as explaining all of my marks. Yeah, I think this should give a pretty clear, and then that is the top of the head. All right, and if I did have my my electrodes, I would be taking one of these, and like on a normal head, I would dip it into my new prep, and I would scrub each of these areas for 15 seconds in one direction, and then I would dip my electrode into the paste and take a gauze and place the electrode on to the spot. And but yeah, and that is complete, and that's about all I can do without my electrodes, but I will probably be practicing with those next weekend just so I can get some more practice in. But yep, ta-da!